Hi, and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Martin Baillie, and joining me today is David Wilding is MD of DW Utilities and Hay Wain Homes. Welcome, David. It's great to have you on.
Thank you very much for the invite. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I can see you're operating from your mobile office today.
Yes, yeah. I spend most of my time in this as well. And if I showed you the floor, you'd see what I had for lunch over the past 2 weeks as well. So we won't do that. But yeah, yeah,
Needs must, needs must. So look, the
exactly.
first place to start this all off is why don't you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So DW Utilities is our main business focus. Oh, Jan 2020 started that, so a little over 3.5 years, give or take. So still a very young company. We manage the utility infrastructure for housing developers, in short. Hay Wain Homes is very much in its infancy. We're sort of a year or so into that. We're buying land and developing ourselves. We saw how much fun everyone was having, so wanted a bit of that pie.
You meant to say that with a smile on your face when you see so much fun, but how much fun everybody was having.
Yeah, that's it. But we've been doing it a year, and I'm sure there's fun to come. But right now, it's hard work. So,
Interesting. What aspect of it's hard work for you? What are you finding is hard work?
finding land, finding appropriate land, which is, everyone's going to agree with that. Valuations of land at the moment, I feel like everyone I speak to with a sort of sizable back garden, everyone thinks their garden is worth £1 million. That's the going rate, and it's not. So yeah, whilst you might find what you believe to be an absolute cracker, um, yeah, invariably it's the money on that's being asked for. And obviously, if it doesn't make money, it's not very good business, is it? So
No.
that's a tricky bit. And well, it's from what we're seeing, we're in East Anglia, it's very saturated. Everyone has the same ideas. Everyone's after the same plots in the same areas, wants to spend the same amount of money. It's a very saturated, very competitive industry at the moment. So
Yeah, well, there's a lot of development going on in East Anglia, isn't there? I mean, everywhere you look, there's houses going up left, right, and centre, isn't there?
yeah,
Especially by Bury Steadmans. I can vouch for that.
yeah, 100%, which is good for the utility side. It's brilliant for the utility side. But when you're trying to sort of get in from the other aspect, there's, like I say, it's a lot of competition. I think over the past 4 or 5 months, we've had 50 plus offers in.
Right.
Um, Now I hear people go sort of that 110, one. So you get 100, find 100 bits of land, put the offers in. You might get 10 replies, and one might be worth sort of pursuing, or you might complete on one. I think it might be 1,000, 10, one at this rate. But yeah, just keep plodding on.
Okay, cool. So look, your business has been going for what, 3 or 4 years, so they're quite young.
Yeah.
If you were to wind your clock back to 3 years ago and back to square one, what was there anything you would do differently?
Um, that's a tricky one, very tricky one. I like to say I feel I'd prepare myself more in terms of having um all the administration, all the paperwork, all your documentation, all in order, all 100%. But something like that, you don't know if it's 100% until it's trial and error. You have to break it. Okay, well, that's what I've found. You have to. Oh, okay, well, that process is crap. It doesn't work. But the only reason I know that process is crap is because I've tried it for 6 months and I'm getting frustrated with it, or the client's getting frustrated with it. So I feel like you can only prepare yourself so well. And it's a little bit of a nature nurture situation potentially. You find your own way of doing things, your own way of putting your stamp on it. So there's countless things I could have done better. But if I hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am now. And there are companies bigger and more successful than us, but we're going in the right direction. So I feel like let's not change things.
So there's about, I think, picking up in terms of what you're saying there. There's two things, which is you don't know what you don't know yet.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then the second bit is test and measure. So
Yes.
test stuff and measure it. Does it work? Doesn't it work? What do you
Yeah.
do once you find something you've tested, measured, and you found the process works? What do you then do with that process?
When it works,
Yeah,
okay, so I mean, in utilities, we have to be so regimented and documented. Yeah, documented. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I do. Yeah,
Um, so there's certain things that we have to have in place from an industry regulation standpoint. So they were nice and easy, but um, our folder structure it has to be spot. It has to be kept up to date. If it's not kept up to date and we're losing information, we're going to fail rapidly
yeah.
as a company. Um, we're gonna let people down. We're gonna be failing, and it doesn't last after that. So communication. Everyone has to know what's being done, why it's being done, and whatever else. And then you need to monitor that and police that, because we've all done it. We all know the process. We all know where we're supposed to be saving stuff or what we're supposed to be doing. And if you don't police it, invariably people get lazy, me included.
I like that. So you take the process, you then put it into structure, your file structure or structure within your business,
Yeah.
and then you police it to make sure it's getting done. Well, you did say there about obviously communication, what has to be done, when it was that's really important. How do you communicate that?
So we've whenever a new process or a change of process happens, we'll have a real basic step by step. Well, it's not basic; it's really quite in depth, but a step by step guide
Yeah,
that goes into such intricate detail. The idea is, and I remember this from primary school, um, you have to write a process that if an alien came down, they could make a cup of tea. They've never seen a kettle before, and it was really like that. So it's, click the box at the top left hand side of the screen, and it's like real. So the thing is, to make again, I've learned this, to make a scalable business. I might not always be here. Jade, one of the other guys, might not always be here. Um, so if we're not, we need to have this documented so someone else can come in and the business can carry on going. Otherwise, we haven't got a business. We've got me running around like a blue ass fly, and
yeah.
that's not sustainable. So that is um, that is documented, that is written down, that is explained to the team. You go through it, you kind of go, right, any questions? Because invariably, how I read something or how I anticipate it will be received could be completely wrong. And so there's that feedback. Okay, well, does this make sense to you? Yes, but can we change this? Because this is quicker, easier, whatever it might be. And then we'll get that final version. And then it'll be reviewed once a year.
Okay. And what do you perceive as the benefits of that?
The benefits for having it written down, or the benefits of the communication?
Well, probably both, really.
I mean, the communication is, I definitely don't know everything. And what's easy for me is definitely not easy for other people, potentially, and vice versa. Having it written down is, like I said earlier, just then in the conversation, I might not be here tomorrow. Might be hit up by a bus. Who knows, right? And that has to be, the business is bigger than me. Whilst my face is on the social media, I am not the business, and it needs to be able to continue to run and grow and whatever else if I'm not there. And that's what we're trying to build, a scalable business.
So it's very interesting because what you're essentially saying there is that systems run the business, not people.
Yeah. The processes and the systems, you obviously need people who understand the processes and the systems and why we're doing what we're doing and in what order. Um, but yeah, the process in utilities is always the same. The process in house building is always the same. Don't get me that there's some nuances and some tweaks and whatever else. But really, you can follow a process and you won't go far wrong.
Yeah,
So
because
that allows, sorry, go on.
no, carry on.
No, it just allows you to bring in individuals who maybe haven't got 15, 20 years worth of experience in that specific industry and train them.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was going to be my question, but you've
Okay.
answered it. So yeah, so basically what all you're doing is the only things that are left. What I use is humanize the exceptions. So anything that can't fit the process or system, that's the only thing that should have human intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then this is the thing, there are certain things, again, I keep going back to the utilities, but there are hard, fast, regimented rules on how to do things and why. And majority of the time it's a safety situation, and you never push against them because they're rules for a reason.
yeah.
People are a lot smarter than me have put them in place. but we do like a little bit of artistic license. As long as we're not going against the rules, I don't mind sort of breaking your status quo a little bit and say, well, we're going to do it this way because we think it makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So
If that works, then it increases efficiency, then it's the right thing. You've tested and measured it. If it doesn't work, you go back to the old process.
yeah, you hold your hands up, go, oh, yeah, dropped one there. We'll yeah, exactly that. And so you'll try something new. And I've done this with clients at the moment. So we go, well, we're going to try something new here, whatever it might be. But we give them the heads up.
Yeah.
And we are, do you mind? We're going to try this, or this project manager is a little bit new. We'll oversee them, but they're going to be trying this for the first time. Heads up, be patient. We're still here. We're chaperoning, as it were. And most people are decent. They know if someone's trying to learn something, if you're trying to implement a new process or a new procedure, then most people are quite relaxed about that because you've told them up front.
It's interesting because essentially what you're saying there is communication with the customer really, really important all the time. And I mean, we're moving slightly away from process, but why do you feel that that's so important?
Communication with the customer. There's so many moving parts in construction. Well, I suppose any business, right? But in construction, there's so many moving parts. It's like herding cats, trying to get everyone there at the right time. This communication with the clients, we say, okay, even if it's bad news, we were booked in for Wednesday, we can't get there till Friday, whatever it might be. If you're open, you're honest, you kind of go, look, this has happened, unforeseeable. They can deal with it. It's when you don't tell people what's happening, when you don't keep them up to date, you can't fix a problem you're unaware of. So the communication is so key, and nobody likes making a phone call to say, here's some bad news, we're going to be late, or there's a variation to. No one likes that. But and I've been on the other side as a customer, I don't like it even more because I've still got a delay, I've still got a variation, and no one told me, and that's when it's very frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think giving people bad news is not the best job in the world, but at least you're giving them the option to do something about it.
Well, this is it. And so when I say to anyone, any of the team, it's like, okay, we've got bad news, regardless of what it is. What are our options? What can we do about mitigating this situation, or at least taking the edge off it? And so we can go to the client and go, right, bad news, but we can do X and Y, or we've done X and Y. We need to let you know, we'll have an update for you in, I don't know, half a day, 2 days, whatever it might be. But when you say, I will have an update for you in 2 days' time, you go back with an update. Even if it's a case of, we've chased them, there's no update. You've got to keep that communication. Otherwise, you feel unloved. You can't plan other works.
Yeah, so do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, you've got to be accountable. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. Otherwise, all trust and respect goes out the window instantly. It takes so long to build it, and 5 seconds to destroy it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting because there are lots of people out in the world that don't see that communication as being really, really important. Oh, I didn't call you because I had nothing to tell you. Well, actually, that's what I needed to know. That you had nothing to tell me.
Sometimes no news is good news, right? And because they could have all these concerns. You say as a contracts manager, as a MD, a developer, whatever it might be, regardless of where you are in the chain, you've got so much going on, and just knowing that, no news, but we got something next week. Okay, cool. I don't have to worry about that for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I can do other things. So it seems really straightforward and basic, but I know a lot of people struggle with it because, like I say, people don't like giving bad news.
Well, no, they don't. I think it's a bit about sticking their head in the sand and just hoping it'll go away until they've got some good news to phone and give. And actually, that's the worst thing you can do. That denial. But obviously, you said you've been growing, and the businesses are growing. What do you attribute your growth to?
We work very hard, a lot of time and effort. This is as a small business. Very rarely do you sort of hit the ground running. Some do, of course they do. Some do, and after a couple of months, you're up, you're all singing, all dancing. A lot of it is continuity and gaining some traction. Once you've sort of gained that traction, and we've got someone who's come on with the social media, and I'm not very good on the social media, which is why we leverage people who are good at it. But when you start looking at that, and if it's perfectly fits the point, is you get 100 people looking at it, and you do that for every week or every couple of days for how, and now we've got thousands of people looking at it, and it's just that traction. It's just a continuity, getting yourself out there, being better at what you do through changes of process and continuing to evolve, getting people on, regardless if it's sort of contract PMs or if it's working with industry partners, having a better understanding there. But it's a time spent situation.
Yeah, yeah. So it's spending time working on the business rather than in the business, I suppose, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's the ideal situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, as a small business owner, you are jack of all trades. You know, stick the broom handle in the proverbial and make the tea at the same time. You've got to, and this is it. So everyone, you see it all over the social media. How work for myself, live in Dubai, and live the high life. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, so I won't. But what a load of nonsense for 99% of the situation. Don't get me wrong. Some people do. Fair play to them. Good luck.
Mm.
But for 99% of business owners, it is 7 days a week, however many hours you can stay awake, doing all the boring stuff, all the administration that needs to be done. And that's not a 2-month thing. It wasn't for me. It's an ongoing situation, because you become, you do have to do everything. No one will ever love the business as much as I do. And so when I can get up at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning because I've thought of something I need to do or want to do, I wouldn't expect anyone else to do that. But that's an ongoing situation. So it's time and
Okay.
effort.
Interesting, because it kind of leads on to another question, which how do you know balance? I mean, obviously you've got wife, etc. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running the business?
Sometimes it's a struggle. I mean, a lot of the time it's a struggle, to be completely honest. We have, so I've got a wife and two young children, 8 and 6. And so what I've done, and this took probably a year and a half, 2 years to put into place, or till I realised it needed to be put into place.
Mm.
I will do school runs on certain days, and that is fixed. That does not move, because that's my little half hour to have a chat and do some parenting. We don't speak about business after 5 o'clock. So me and the wife, we can have from 5 o'clock onwards. But we do, so every Sunday we go out for a coffee, and we have an hour where we can plan the following week. So it's not all a mad rush on Monday morning. But yeah, for me, it's getting those blocked times in that don't move. They're sort of non-negotiables.
Yep.
Um, and that's made a massive difference over the past year.
Yeah, no, it would do. It would do. No, absolutely. And they're important. And do you do that block timing with anything else, or is it just purely family commitments?
No, it's just family commitments. That's it. They don't move. And like I say, it took me about 2 years, probably, coming up for 2 years to realise that. I obviously always knew the importance, but when you're trying to get a business, you get blinkered. Having a notepad next to your bed and waking up at 3 a.m. to write notes down, and I didn't realise that was affecting other people, and so it was a little bit. It was a 6-year-old, Daddy, you're always working, and it sounds really cliche. And I've so many people, Daddy, you're always working.
Is that
I
what your
think
6-year-old said to you?
6-year-old said to me, as you get, oh yeah, I am, but trying to explain to a 6-year-old that Daddy's working really hard now, so he doesn't. They don't get that.
They don't care.
So he doesn't have to work hard when he's 50.
They don't care.
It,
They want daddy
it,
now. They don't want daddy in 10 years' time.
exactly that. Exactly that. So yeah, that was a good one. Out of the mouth of babes and all that.
That's what you call an emotional heartstring getting tugged very hard.
Oh yes, yeah, but they're right. Absolutely, of course they're right. So it's just time management, and yeah, there's no point in building a big successful business if you don't get to, they're only this age once.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely, and a point well made. So look, rather one final question for me to sort of wrap up our conversation. Where do you see the business in 5 years' time?
I want, it will have a management structure in place. Because I've started to, I suppose, give away responsibility on certain things. We're only, it's hard. It's hard giving away responsibility because in your head you think, well, no one can do the job as good as I can, when that's absolute nonsense. Because you get someone who's really good at the finance. I'm crap at the finance. But if I've got control, I know that if it goes wrong, it's my fault. No. So all sort of finance and legal and HR has been heavily offloaded now, which allows me more time to do what I'm good at, which is chatting to people and getting stuff done. But that's where we want to be. So we want to grow, obviously, but I want it to be sustainable. We don't owe any money. We've not taken on any investment and don't plan to. We want it to be sustainable growth, and if the next 5 years or anything like the three, it's going in the right direction at a good speed as well. So we'll be bringing on a number of staff, but I want to have that, like I say, that sort of ops director, finance director, technical director, and then that's it. And then they've got the responsibility has been taken from me. I'm still involved. I can never not be involved. But like I say, that's the only way in my eyes, and from what I've seen and read and heard, you need to have that scalable, sustainable business, and that's the only way it's going to last. With construction, especially because it's very much up and down and cutthroat, and anything can happen on any given day. So you need to have that strong base and those people around you.
Do you see the two businesses running side by side separately, or do you see them running together as one?
Side by side, separately.
But would the management team you put in place sit across both businesses or just one?
So the way I see it is finance and HR would be across one, but technical when it comes to utilities and technical when it comes to house building, whilst obviously there's some crossover, it's a different skill set. So so half and half, a bit of both, to be honest. So
Right.
when you're realistically looking at it, it's say 15, maybe 20 staff over the next 5 years, which isn't a mad number. People do that, especially when they get investment, they can ramp that up in 2 months, a month, whatever it might be. So that's why I don't want to become Amazon. I want it to be sustainable. I want to grow the business, but do it in the right way.
Right. Oh, excuse me. Look, this has been brilliant. There's some great nuggets in there, David, especially around time, around structure, and process that people are going to learn lots from. So, look, I just want to say a big thank you for coming along today. It's been fantastic, and hopefully you enjoyed it too.
I did, yeah. I tell you what, you almost got me teary when I remembered the conversation with the little one. But yeah, no, hopefully it made sense. Sometimes what's in your head and how it comes out and all the rest of it, you can ramble, but yeah, no, very enjoyable. Thank you.
Made perfect sense, and thank you very much again.
Perfect. All right, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.